I'm not real sure. I'd love to tell you what that story is about, but I'm not real sure because they changed it so much as we went along. I said, the director, Charles, well, one day, here's the thing that I never got used to this day. I was sitting off the set in a chair, just kind of thumbing through my script, and the first AD comes up to me and says, Jay, can we have you in front of the camera for rehearsal, please? And I said, yeah, sure, no problem. I look around and I don't see the director, and I said, where's Charlie? He says, oh, Charlie won't be coming in today. And I said, oh, let's go home, that's it. The director goes, that's it. No, his dad's going to fill in for him. Excuse me, did I miss something? His dad is going to, okay, well, my brother's filling in for me tomorrow. So, let's see how that goes on your camera. No, it was just a strange thing that I'd never had happen to me before. I mean, I've had directors get sick and where they had to have somebody take over for them. But this was like before principal photography began, like on an episodic and somebody's got pneumonia or something like that. And then at the last minute, the director comes in and says, okay, I didn't do any of this prep. Somebody else did this prep, but I'm going to get you through this as best I can. And so he's just kind of holding the wand, going like this, as you're singing, and you're okay. So I've been in that situation, but never, well, he's not coming in today. Where is it? Oh, he said his castle. Oh, well, tell him I hope he's having a great time at his castle. Hi.
And you started out doing comedy.
Comedy. You mean like stand-up comedy? No, I did stand-up comedy one time at Rick Newman's Sketch Rising Star in New York City, and it was the longest 3 minutes of my life. Because I was the only one who thought I was funny. Everyone else in the room, I was looking at this. And of course I was drinking then, so I was having a great time. It was like, yeah, So no, it wasn't a good time. Stand-up comedy's not my thing. I have a great deal of respect for guys that can do that though, and be good at it. I was just reading this thing on the way in on the plane, on the bumpy plane ride on the way in, about this actor, Robin something. Robin? Yeah. I'll think of his name. He's a black man, and he's kind of heavy-set. He had a big, Robin Harris. And I remember seeing him, and boy, he was great. He was just a really funny guy, but he died. But of course, there's a lot of guys who, are still alive and funny. But no, I mean, he was just kind of, you said something, comedian, and hit, and now my friend Guy Magar is looking at me right now and says, this is very typical of Jay, don't worry. He's not ill, this is the way he thinks. You say something, he thinks way over there, comes back with it. Well, here I am up on the stage with no hands raised. There's one in the back.
I really enjoyed the episode of Murder, She Wrote that you were in.
Thank you.
Yes, you might be back in that role. Number one, any hopes of it? Number two, what's it like to act with Angela Lansbury?
Okay, the second one was, what's it like to act with Angela Lansbury, and the first one was,
Have you any hopes of getting into another episode?
of Murder, She Wrote. And do I have any hopes of getting back into another episode of Murder, She Wrote? I like the show. I like the show a lot. I've done 2 Murder, She Wrotes. I did one with Angela, where she actually participated, and then I did another one that was a bookend show for her, where she just came in at the beginning and read a letter, and then at the end she read a letter and beyond. She was in her castle. But I did one. I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry, but I can't remember the actor's name right now. Jerry Orbach. No, I did Out for Justice with Jerry. It was an actor. And if you're talking about, I think the one that just aired recently, I think that's the one that I acted with Angela. And yeah, that was the last one I did. I had a great time with her. She's a nice lady, and she lived in my hometown for a period of like a year and a half or 2 years. Right after the war, the Second World War. she was, you know, she was a kid. She was a kid, and for some reason, I guess she's originally from England. Is that right? Okay. She was originally from England, and where? Ireland. I see. And I guess during the war, if you were from another country, you had to be sponsored by somebody in this country. Something like that. And it was some kind of rule or something. Anyway, there were these very wealthy people that lived in my hometown. They weren't me. They weren't us. And those people sponsored Angela's family. And she lived in Mayapack, New York for about 1.5 years. And so we talked about that. And I said, yeah, you still live in my hometown. She said, I don't care. Well, she was very nice. She damn thing bit me. She was very nice, and she remembered a lot of people, surprisingly. I mentioned some names, and then she asked me about other names, and I said, oh yeah, you know, they're still around, doing good. So, and as far as getting back on the show, I mean, if they'd have me back on the show, sure. Yeah, I like the show, it's good. And both times were a good experience for me. Do I have a tumor or something?
That character was about as far removed from Joe Maxwell as you can get.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that?
The episode of, she asked me, well, she said she enjoyed seeing the episode of Silk Stockings. And it was very far, it was very far. It was far removed from Joe Maxwell. Yeah, it was. And David Peckinpah, who used to write Beauty and the Beast, and he also, if my memory serves me correct, he also worked for a period of time on Hollywood Beat as a staff writer. He asked me to come aboard and do an episode. And I said, yeah, sure. So I went down to San Diego and we shot it. And I'll tell you, they're really producing a nice show there for the amount of money they have to work with. They don't have a lot of money. I mean, they're working probably on about a $400,000 a week budget, which to you and me sounds like a lot of money, but when you're talking about producing episodic television, there's not a lot of money. And they've got the right guy on the job. They've got a guy down there who Guy has worked with, a line producer named Stu Siegel. And he gets out the whip, and people have to move because they don't have a lot of money, and it's got to be, you know, done fast. So all the actors have to know their lines. God, you know your lines, don't you? Please tell me you know your lines. You're getting one take of this. Oh, okay, good. Well, thanks for telling me right before I go in front of the camera. Nothing like a little pressure, eh? No, I had a good time doing that. That was good. Hi.
Hi. There's two things I want to ask you. I know you and Linda worked on Search for Tomorrow. Did you both at the same time on Search for Tomorrow?
Linda Hamilton was on Search for Tomorrow? Well, obviously not with me. No, I would have remembered that face. No. No, I replaced, I replaced an actor. Well, it wasn't a dog or a cat, okay? I replaced an actor named Gene Petrogallo, and the character's name was Brian Emerson. And I was on it for like 2 years. I didn't even know Hamilton was on the show. Really? So.
Another thing I wanted to ask is the episodes of Door Things.
Yes.
How was that?
It was fun. It was just kind of a nightmare shoot. I mean, for them, not for me. It was great for me. They had to pay me a fortune because what happened was, it was the only show that they had done in recent years, I guess, that they shot completely on location, or at least 85% on location. And every time we went to shoot this thing, you know how many days a year it rains in Southern California? I mean, never. Every time they went to shoot this thing, it rained for like 5 weeks. You know, it's like, okay, Jay, we're shooting a week and a half from Wednesday. I said, great.